chance to win their rockin' 3D concert on DVD. Showcase Minnesota starts right now.
Oh yeah! Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Showcase Minnesota. I'm Rob Hudson.
Hi, everybody. I'm Corbin Seitz.
Yes, you are indeed.
Glad you are all joining us today. This is quite the day for a variety of reasons.
It is, and we should say right off the top, a programming reminder. Coverage of the Michael Jackson Memorial starts at noon today, right here on KARE 11. It goes until 2 p.m., and tonight at 9, you can catch a Dateline Farewell to Michael Jackson special.
That's right. Now, if you're a Days of Our Lives fans, don't worry, you're not going to miss anything today. Due to the Jackson Memorial coverage, NBC will pick right back up with the series tomorrow. They're not airing it at all across the country. So if you have a friend who lives in Denver, they won't be ahead of you.
No. So you won't be alone. You won't be alone.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you've got it.
Wonderful show today. A jam-packed lineup for you. We've got cooking, we've got books, we've got artists, we've got music. Did I forget anything?
Well, that's what I was saying.
Humane Society's here.
Yeah, Humane Society. We've got a gorgeous dog.
We've got live animals on the show.
Gorgeous dog. Yeah, I was saying it's a special day for a variety of reasons. One of those for me is that Thomas Kincaid is here, and he is the most collected living artist, and we get to chat with him. He's in town. We're going to talk about why he's in town, and take a little look at some of his work that is his latest work and how you can get some of it, and so on and so forth. My mother had a beautiful Thomas Kincaid in her house. My sister has them. Our executive producer has them all over her apartment. Very prolific, very popular.
How do you become the most collected artist? How do they tally?
Well, I guess
how do they tally that up? Is there like a
know.
survey that's taken?
I don't know, because you can of course get things other than just his artwork with his name on it and his designs.
Yes.
His point of view. He has a very clear point of view. We'll talk about that a little bit, about life and how it looks through his eyes.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, if you don't know the name when you see the art, you'll say, okay, now I know who Thomas Kincaid is, just by looking at it. You know, I mentioned everything that's going on, and I forgot to mention one thing. You know what today is.
Oh, Rob, it's DVD Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, here we go. Today we're offering up the family flick, Jonas Brothers, the concert experience. It's now available in both DVD and Blu-ray versions. Fans, both young and old, can rock out with the brothers as they hit the stage for their live, sold-out concerts around the world. The deluxe edition of the film includes free 3D glasses,
That's
Corbin.
right, so you can virtually reach out and touch Kevin, Joe, and Nick. The DVD also includes 4 additional songs that were never seen in theaters, as well as cameos from Demi Lovato and Taylor Swift. So stay tuned for your chance to win this great movie a little bit later in the show.
Reach out.
Oh, the tweeners and teeners.
Reach out and touch them.
Going crazy.
Corbin's got her glasses. That's what I saw you putting in your purse. You know, reach out.
I've actually got it, coffee right here in my hot little hands. Hey, in just a moment, a bounty of berries, but first a look at what's coming up today on Rachel Ray.
All new. The number one question to ask your doctor. What is it?
Before you book that doc appointment, the MD who inspired the hit show House
If you're unsure, then it's important to get a second opinion.
reveals the how-tos of building a better doctor's visit.
You have to find one who's going to listen to you. That's the most important thing.
Then, a baby powder bottle as a sugar sifter, EVOO as makeup remover.
That is brilliant.
5 all-new double-duty tips.
Watch Rachel Ray every afternoon at 2 here on KARE 11. Now over to Rob for more in the show.
All right, thanks a lot, Corbin. First up this morning, a very good summer treats, from blueberries to raspberries, strawberries, and more. There are many delicious ways you can enjoy these fresh fruits this season. And this morning, culinary instructor and Chef Terry John Zilla is here in the Showcase Kitchen with some of his favorite recipes. Hello, Terry. Good to see you again. I know before the show I called you TJ. I hope I didn't offend you by that.
You didn't hurt either of my feelings.
Out now. That's a great idea. That's $1 million idea for either of your feelings. You have 2.
Well, I only bring 2 to work.
You have 2 left. I know it's a cruel business. We're talking cooking with berries.
Well, let's start off with the salmon here.
Okay, let's. Why
Now,
not?
here the thing is, and I know how you like to
arm.
eat. So what I want to do is just show the plated version, and we'll talk about the preparation. Now, the dots on there, last time I was on, we did a balsamic reduction with a bit of brown sugar. Well, now we're actually using it as a garnish on the plate to accentuate the flavors of the berries and the salmon.
We just got the dots on there. That's all it is.
Just to kind of accent, you can dip it in. You don't want to overwhelm the salmon.
I know what your plan is here. You handed me this and the fork because you want to keep me stuffing my mouth the whole time so I don't take away from the spotlight.
Is it going to work?
Yes.
Okay, great.
You go ahead.
Anyway,
you start talking and cooking. What are you going to do?
No, what?
You're going to start pulling bones out of there with the tweezers, aren't you?
Exactly. Now, a lot of times you'll get this great high quality fish and you don't realize that there's going to be bones. You toss it on the grill, you brown it up, and you don't realize that you need to get rid of these bones.
Okay.
Because if you don't...
What do you look for? I mean,
what
I know
you do
what
is
to
you
look
run
for
your
being
hand,
a fisherman, but...
But when you run your hands,
Yep.
a finger right along the thickest part, the bones will come right out on your fingertips there, and we want to make sure that we get all those bones out. I boned most of it already.
And they pull out just like a sliver.
They pull out beautifully. And I have a kitchen tweezers that I use all the time.
Huh.
Because that way I know I'm using it just for food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, Rob. Anyway, so we'll get that done.
I know what a tweezers is, Terry.
I mean, using it for other purposes.
Do I look unkempt? Do I look that barbaric? I don't know what a tweezers is.
Anyway,
keep
so
cooking.
and also too, while we're when you're cooking, you want your salmon, especially the fresh king salmon, as cold as possible and a pan nice and hot. I've used a little bit of olive oil and butter. And
You're just putting it in there with no salt and pepper, nothing.
Here's the issue. We can always salt and pepper it later on, but there's enough flavor going on there. I don't think we really need a lot of seasoning.
Okay.
But you're always going to want to go skin side down.
Okay.
And then we're just going to let that cook up a little bit.
Okay.
Now, when you're making your salsas,
Now you're doing this on the stove. How about if you wanted to grill it?
you can grill. Make sure your grill is lightly oiled.
Okay.
And if your grill is lightly oiled, it'll come off beautifully. If
All right.
you don't, that gorgeous piece of salmon is going to stick right on those grits.
Yes, it is.
Now, also, though, too, the ceramic coated grills are far better than the metal.
Good advice.
They're wider and they're better for fish.
Good advice. Looks like you've got some sort of salsa.
Yeah, and I want to talk to people about there's a kind of a pain in the neck aspect to when you're making salsa. And what I wanted to show is that people say, well, I'll just put the peppers in the food processor. The problem is you can get mush.
Yes.
And I've done this before. If you have like one knife, it's a little bit tedious, but when you have two,
This
nice
is your
sharp
thing.
knives,
I remember
love
last
it.
time you were on with Corbin, she made a big deal about
I
this.
just
Look at how he
love this.
dices.
And when you do that with two nice sharp knives,
I see an infomercial. The birth of an infomercial coming on. You had to invent your own.
and you don't actually leach too much moisture out, so that way
Look
you get
at that.
beautiful, beautiful chop.
Am I crazy here? Well, don't answer that, but I have never seen anyone chop veggies with two. Is this your thing?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't invent
Where did you
food
see
or
it?
cooking. What happened was I always had a chef's knife.
You got to get a patent on that. You need an agent. Okay. No, that's seriously, folks, that's a great idea.
And now for the sweet side on the salsas, just a simple lemon berry flan. There's that recipe online. And then a simple, almost like a free-form trifle with the lemon curd, the fresh berries, and pound cake.
Did you make that pound cake yourself?
I made everything
That's
myself.
incredible.
That's
It's
why you
perfect.
hired me.
And now you say flan, I
It's a
say flan.
Excellent.
Flan's the Minnesota way of saying it.
Oh yeah, for cripe's sakes, that's how
This
they pretty
looks
much say it. You know.
absolutely perfect.
And I think you should eat some.
I think I've got one fork at a time.
Has it ever stopped you
I will,
before?
no, I will try just a little bit. Very, very custard-like.
Oh,
Delicious.
this is beautiful. Now,
I was
what we
just gonna
do
say you
is
better flip that fish.
when we flip it over, look at that
Oh, that's
color.
perfect.
Isn't that gorgeous? Now, the nice thing about doing the skin side
Yeah.
down, now I flipped it over, and as this cooks, the skin will separate gorgeously,
Yes.
and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, now I'm looking at this. You take the skin off there when you serve it.
You bet.
There's no skin under there.
I don't want that. I want you to be able to devour the entire thing.
Okay, now, what types of berries, we only got about 30 seconds left, what types of berries go well with salmon?
Actually, when you do a mixture, they're all wonderful. I think it's one berry, two berries makes it taste kind of linear.
Okay.
But when you add blackberries, raspberries,
There we go.
strawberries, blueberries, all combined, a little bit of lemon or lime zest, a little powdered sugar in there. Then with the peppers, gorgeous.
Mild sweet peppers. Don't throw the habanero in there,
No,
right?
you can do a little
Really?
bit, but just a little tiny bit. You notice that little bit of spice in there?
Yes.
That's the jalapeno.
Wonderful.
It's a backdrop flavor for the naturally sweet flavors of the berries.
Terry John, you ought to be on TV. You ought to cook classes.
Really? I should try it.
Fantastic. Great recipe. Really easy to understand. For a copy of today's recipe, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address on your screen or log on to showcaseminnesota.com and click on recipes. You're going to find today's recipe under the main dish category. To find out more about Chef Zilla and his cooking classes, just log on to showcaseminnesota.com and click on the Friday link. It is so good. Delicious. There's more ahead. Coming up, 25 years of Thomas Kincaid. The talented artist is here to tell us how he's celebrating this special milestone. And later, summer pet safety, how to keep your dog and cat from overheating, plus the rockin' sounds of pictures of then. So please, stay tuned.
You guys are up, actually. Yeah, let's
We're up.
Just finish. We can talk about
But, well, yeah. But
Isn't that beautiful? Welcome back, everybody. Well, his beautiful brushwork is instantly recognizable. Thomas Kincaid is the most collected living artist in the world. And this year marks his 25th anniversary as a published artist. And of course, this morning we are delighted to welcome Thomas to the show to tell us more. Hello. You know, I met
Hi,
you on
Corbin.
satellite.
I know. But
We chatted.
But that's like one way. I can
You
I
can't
can
see
hear
me.
your voice, but I couldn't see you. So this makes it even more pleasant.
It's full circle. We are thrilled that you are here, and we're going to talk about why Thomas is in town in just a moment. But I want to talk a little bit about this 25 years. Can you
Yes.
believe it's been 25 years?
My wife and I took our life savings, published our first print in 1984, and we began to discover that people had a response to the paintings that was amazing. They didn't just walk into a gallery and say, give me a Kincaid painting in mauve, because I'm redecorating in mauve and I need those colors. They had a personal connection to it. They had an emotional connection. I think it's exciting to share art with people in ways they can understand. 80% of the people that have bought my paintings have never bought a painting before. So it gives people permission to enjoy art just because they like it.
That's an incredible statistic. And if anything you look at of his, and here is some of the artwork that is currently available, that's Tinkerbell.
That is Tinkerbell and Peter Pan. I've had a wonderful relationship with Disney Company.
Oh, I love it.
am considered an artist ambassador to the Disney characters, and I create paintings that celebrate their memories of Disney. You can see those on thomaskincade.com.
There's Pinocchio up in the corner.
Pinocchio up there. We have a number of other kind of what we call our affinity connections, like cities. this is Las Vegas. We go from Disney to Las Vegas.
Yes, we're
You can't-
going everywhere.
You can't see it in the painting, but Elvis is on a huge Goodyear blimp floating over the city in the upper right.
I see a little bit of that.
Yeah, and of course I was the official artist for the 100th anniversary of the Indy 500 this year. I've done a lot of sports art. I did the farewell portrait for Yankee Stadium. I might even do something up here one of these days because I love sports and I love celebrating it. This is Nanette's cottage. My Kincaid cottages, everyone knows.
Tell them who Nanette is.
Nanette is my wife of 27 years. She's, I like to introduce her as my girlfriend. So people think I'm having a wild affair or something, but it's actually my wife. It's actually my wife. And she was my childhood sweetheart.
And there are ends hidden in the pictures, aren't there?
Hidden ends in
Secret
each painting.
ends in every painting. Look for the end.
And this is San Francisco, my hometown, and I paint a lot of views of San Francisco. I've painted it many times.
You know, in looking at these, you can clearly see that you have a point of view about life, and I think that is what people are responding to, right? You make everything, the colors are beautiful, and tell us what your point of view is when you're painting.
Well, it's all about light, and I'm known as the painter of light, and light is much more than just the visual phenomenon of light. It is also a spiritual dimension, and I feel that God gives us talents for a reason. My mom always said, you know, your talent is God's gift to you, but how you use that talent is your gift back to God, and you need to, each of us with our talents, have a chance to make the world a little better, to give back to others.
And now, you have really always made a living as a painter, as an artist.
I know, it's a miracle.
An artist of some kind, which is because, you know, a lot of people are waiters and do all these other things to try and keep going. But you've always been an artist. You've worked with a lot of celebrities, presidents. What presidents have you met?
I've had the chance to present my art to 4 different presidents. I've been the official artist for the National Christmas Tree. That's how that got started. And I did the lighting of the tree when President Clinton was leaving office in the year 2000. And I was shared the stage with him. We lit the National Christmas Tree, and I did the painting that was a fundraiser for charity that night. And then I did it with President G.W. Bush. When he was in office, I've done it with Bush Sr., and now we're going to have a chance to do something with President Obama. So I try to be above politics. I want to just be supportive of whoever's in office.
Yes, the Christmas tree is a great way to go. Now, we've got to say why you're in town and talk about these 2 pieces of artwork that we have here. You're at Shop NBC. What are you going to be doing there?
We are showcasing some wonderful art. This is just, if you think about television as a medium, what a great way to share art with people, because most people are intimidated coming into a gallery.
Yeah.
But they will turn on their television and see the art. They will walk down that path in their imagination. They will step into that world that I've created, and they'll want it in their home. A painting goes into a home, it's part of that family forever. So I like to think that television's the ideal medium for presenting art because it's already in the home.
Well, you're reaching a lot of people today that may not have seen this artwork in quite this light before, and as the painter of light, that's a good thing to do.
Yes.
Thank you for coming by. You're the father of 4 daughters?
Only 4.
I'm the mother of 4 daughters.
I know, that's a lot of blessing.
Yeah. You don't have enough gray hair to be the father of 4 daughters. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks,
and you
Corbin.
can see Thomas tomorrow on Shop NBC. He'll be hosting 4 shows throughout the day. For more information, you can check out shopnbc.com. Up next, protecting your pets from the dog days of summer. The Animal Humane Society is here with some timely tips. And later, chasing moonlight. More on the life and times of baseball player turned Minnesota doctor, Moonlight Graham, when we return.
If I was on Survivor and you can bring one thing,
Welcome back to the show. In today's Community Corner, summer pet safety. With temperatures over 80 this week, it's important to protect your animals from overheating. And here with some timely tips is Cindy Johnson from the Animal Humane Society. Hi, Cindy. And
Hi.
what'd you bring with you here?
This is Mick.
Hi, Mick. How are you doing today? Mick seems pretty happy and healthy. Mick is up for adoption, right?
Yes, he is. He's up for adoption at our Golden Valley location.
Okay.
It's a 5-year-old Siberian Husky Akita mix.
Well, it's a great dog to bring because you talk about an animal that doesn't like the heat. And
Yes.
you can almost imagine it'd be like wearing a fur coat outside when it's over 80 degrees.
Absolutely.
And, how quickly they do overheat. Why do we have to do this segment every year? I mean, don't people realize, once should be enough that, wow, do not leave your pets inside a car in the summer.
Well, I think sometimes people just need reminders about what's safe for their pets and what to look out for if their pets are under stress due to heat. And so it's just a good reminder as we're out and about in this hot weather to think about our pets as well.
And I guess it's not just leaving the pet in the car. It's generally in the heat outside, traveling with a pet, anything. What are some of the signs of heat stroke?
Well, some of the first signs that you're going to see are really heavy, excessive panting, a lot of drooling. Sometimes they'll vomit. They get kind of this glassy, confused look in their face, muscle weakness. You know, when it really gets to a bad point, you know, they can collapse and even, you know, die.
What's
from
the
it.
first thing you should do if you suspect heat stroke?
If you see those signs, the best thing to do is to get your dog into shade, you know, shady area, and then sponge them off with cool water, especially around the face and the
Okay.
neck.
Okay.
And
Nothing too cold to shock them or anything because that can
just
be bad too, right?
cool or somewhat tepid water, you know, and even use towels or sponges and stuff to try and lower their body temperature. And then and then after that, you should take them to the veterinarian.
Okay.
They should be checked out so they
Very
can
good.
check their body temperature and be sure that, you know, it hasn't progressed any farther.
Okay, Cindy, you brought some tips with you today, and the first one is don't leave pets in the car, and this is what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I mean, it turns into an oven so quickly when you roll those windows up and leave, even if you're just going into the store for a minute.
Yes, yes. People don't realize, you know, dogs' body temperatures are a few degrees higher than ours. So, and they don't have the same cooling system that humans do. You know, our skin sweats and perspires, but dog skin is covered with fur, and the only way they can sweat is to pant or through their pads.
Yeah.
So you put them in a hot situation, and they're going to become even hotter
Absolutely.
from it because of their fur and the way that they deal with stress.
You also say limit the exercise.
Yes, during these really hot days and stuff, pick times of the day, early in the morning or later in the evening at dusk when it's cooler to walk your dog. And walk your dog on grassy areas. You know, that black pavement can be really hot for their paws. So
Absolutely.
find grassy
Yeah.
areas to walk your dog and wait till it's cooler in the
Any
day.
extreme winter time, you know,
Yes.
we worry about how cold and the salt, and in the
Yes.
summertime the heat. Okay,
Yes.
check your pets for fleas and ticks. Why is that important when it's so
Well,
hot?
this time of year in Minnesota, this is flea and tick season in Minnesota. So you want to check them often for it because, you know, for example, deer ticks can lead to Lyme's disease.
Absolutely.
And dogs can get Lyme disease just like people can. So be sure that they're wearing flea and tick products. You know, your vet is a great place to get recommendations for the right product for yourself, for your dog. And then and check them often. You know, when you're brushing them or playing with them, check their skin and their fur for any signs of fleas or ticks.
Make sure he's a laid-back dog.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a good
wonderful.
boy.
And obviously, your last tip: put a lot of water out. Make sure they've got a lot of water at all times.
Hydration, extremely important during these hot days. Always have fresh water available for them, cool water. And then one of my favorite tips for dogs that spend a lot of time outside is to get a kitty wading pool, a
There you
plastic
go.
wading pool.
Yeah.
Keep it filled with water. Dogs that enjoy water will lay in it, splash in it, and then you'll always have a big supply
Humans
of
love
water
them,
for
too.
them. Absolutely. So
Climb in
kitty
there right
pools
with
are
your
great.
dog. You bet. Cindy, thank you so much for coming. Great advice.
you.
Mick, you did a great job. You're a star. For more information about the Minnesota Valley Humane Society, log on to showcaseminnesota.com. And up next, the clear distinction between red eye and pink eye, what you need to know before heading to the pharmacy counter. And later, Joe Bros in 3D. That's right, your chance to snag a copy of their new concert DVD, plus a catchy tune from the Twin Cities' own Pictures of Then. Stick around.
Through
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back to the show. Parents and grandparents, listen up. Do you know the difference between red eye and pink eye? Well, they're actually two very different conditions and, of course, require very different treatment. And here to explain is optometrist Dr. Gina Wesley. Welcome back, Dr. G.
Thank you.
I was telling you, my daughter gets a little redness in her eyes sometimes, and every parent who's getting ready to send their kid off to school that morning thinks, is it pink eye? It's highly contagious. Maybe she shouldn't go. Tell me the difference in this red eye and pink eye thing.
Well, the thing to remember is anytime somebody has a red, irritated, or watery eye, there can be a lot of different things that could be going on, especially if you involve contact lens wear into that. A true pink eye that you hear about that's very contagious is usually related to a cold or an upper respiratory infection that has then spread to the eyes. A red eye can be a number of different things, including a bacterial infection or allergies or contact lens overwear. So it's just important that people get properly checked out so they know what's going on.
What is the problem with self-diagnosing? I mean, I'm kind of standing there like every other parent looking in my kid's eyes. What kind of damage can we do by not looking at the right things?
Well, you can actually do a lot of damage because if you improperly guess as to what's going on with the eyes and you try to treat it and it doesn't get better, it could actually be a serious infection that can cause permanent damage to the eye, such as corneal scarring or really bad internal inflammation inside the eye that can really damage the retina and other structures of the eye that are very important for normal vision.
We've got a little animation, I think, in what's going on in your eye, whether it's red eye or pink eye or whatever. What is this?
Right, so they're just showing you kind of the common symptoms and signs that you may have. You can see that the white part of the eye is starting to get really red and irritated, and it's starting to get kind of watery. And this can indicate a bunch of different issues or problems. It could be an infection, it could be a scratch on the cornea, it could be allergies. People often misdiagnose themselves as having an infection when actually they have allergy issues that are making their eyes itchy and very much may imitate an eye infection. Now they're showing here possible internal inflammation and problems that can imitate eye infections. Even things like glaucoma can imitate a really bad eye inflammation or infection. So it's just important that you go to an eye doctor who has the proper equipment to determine, well, why is my vision getting blurry? Why is my eye red and irritated? Because the earlier the treatment, the faster you're going to heal up and the less risk there is to damaging your vision.
Okay, let's talk treatment, because when do we, as parents, if we ran to the doctor every time the kid had a little something wrong with him, we'd be at a doctor's office all the time. Usually our first line of attack is the drugstore. I see a lot of products here.
Right.
what are these products about?
You know, I'm just showing here, this is just a small sample of the plethora of eye drops that are out there and why it's so confusing to go to the drugstore and try and figure out, hey, what drop should I use for what problem do I have? And oftentimes people pick the wrong eye drop.
Do we talk to the pharmacist? Does he know?
The pharmacist might be able to help you out, but only if you know what's wrong with the eye.
So when do we go to the doctor?
You know,
1 day, 2 days? What do you think?
As soon as you possibly can. If that eye is red and irritated and it's lasting for more than a day, you should get in and see what's going on so that you can protect your eyes and your vision. Because vision really is, you know, one of the most important senses that we have as humans, and people really don't want anything to go wrong with it. So it's something we shouldn't take for granted and should get properly checked out.
Right. Well, great information as always. Nice to see you again.
Thanks, Corbin.
And for more information on Dr. Gina Wesley and any of the things that we talked about, you can visit showcaseminnesota.com and just click on the Tuesday link. And it's time now for First Birthdays.
First Birthdays is brought to you by Minnesota College Savings Plan and ECFE.
And the very beautiful Beatrice Hartwick is celebrating her first birthday today. Beatrice enjoys blowing bubbles, spending time with her brother, and playing outside. And big birthday wishes go out to Angelia Marie Smith. This little doll loves singing, dancing, and playing with dogs. Happy birthday, Angelia, and to everyone celebrating a birthday today. And coming up next, a must-read for baseball fans, a fascinating look at the real-life Moonlight Graham, made famous thanks to the movie Field of Dreams. And congratulations, it's a dad. More on this touching tribute to fatherhood when we return.
Okay, go around. Right. Okay, very good. Sorry. That's okay. Hey, this.
Well, you know, I never got to bat in the major leagues. I'd have liked to have that chance, just once. To stare down a big league pitcher. To stare him down, and just as he goes into his windup, wink. Make him think you know something he doesn't. That's what I wish for. Chance to squint at a sky so blue that it hurts your eyes just to look at it. To feel the tingle in your arm as you connect with the ball. To run the bases, stretch a double into a triple, and flop face first into third. Wrap your arms around the bag. That's my wish, Rick and Zilla. That's my wish.
What a performance from the talented Burt Lancaster. Fans of the beloved baseball classic Field of Dreams will remember his role as Moonlight Graham, a little-known player turned Minnesota doctor. The film touched on Graham's infamous Major League career, playing only an inning and a half for the New York Giants before being sent back to the minors and subsequent obscurity. But there's much more to Graham's story than that. In Chasing Moonlight, author Brett Friedlander offers the readers a unique look at the man and his life, and we're pleased to welcome Brett to the show this morning to tell us more. Good morning, my friend. Great to have you here in Minnesota. Mr. Graham was from Fayetteville, or North Carolina, where you're from.
Yep.
And then he ended up being a doctor in Chisholm. Fill in the blanks between then.
Well, unlike the movie, he did not play on the last game of the season and decided to quit to go to medical school after getting sent down to the minors. He actually played 4 more years of minor league baseball after his one brief cup of coffee with the Giants, and actually led the New York Penn League in batting in 1906.
Well, what piqued your interest in writing a book about him? I mean, such a short career. Was it Field of Dreams? Was it the character that started it all?
Oh, of course. Every red-blooded American male loves that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And I wore out 2 VHS copies of it before I finally got a DVD player. But I love the movie, and a friend came to my office one day. I was a columnist at the Fayetteville Observer newspaper, and said, "By the way, did you know that Doc Graham was from Fayetteville?" Mm-hmm. I didn't even know he was a real person. And,
right.
So I did a little research and found out that he, in the movie, he's too good to be true.
Right.
Well, he really is too good to be true. It's an amazing story and just a great person.
Well, in Chasing Moonlight, how close is it to the movie? Is Doc Graham?
Well, the basic framework of Doc Graham in the movie is correct. The Blue Hats story, that's correct. The $10 handshakes to the indigent miners, that's true too. But they kind of updated it to make it a current movie. He actually played his one game in 1905 and died in 1965, as opposed to in the movie he played in 1922 and died in 1972.
Right.
There are a lot of other slight differences, but the main thing is that he was a benevolent guy who gave up baseball to help others.
And the scene we're looking at now, is that something you found out? He was extremely dedicated to children.
And actually,
in Chisholm.
Yes, he was. He was the town school doctor, and he did a groundbreaking study on children's blood pressures. But I got to tell you, that scene, although it's fiction, there's a lot of truth to that scene, because in 1910, a year after Graham finished playing baseball, he was in Chisholm. He was playing for a local mine team in an industrial league, and a scout for the Boston Red Sox found out that there was an ex-major leaguer playing, came to see him play, offered him a contract, and Doc turned it down because the previous spring he had helped Chisholm through a diphtheria epidemic, and he realized that the town needed him more than he needed baseball.
So you made the pilgrimage to Chisholm. What'd you think?
It was a lot like I thought it would be. It's a small town. The people there are amazing.
They are.
The highlight of my trip was meeting Vida Panikvar, the newspaper publisher who was played by Ann Seymour.
Well, I wanted to ask you about Vanita because she actually knew Doc Graham.
Yeah.
And how did the movie and everything change people's lives? It almost turned them celebrity up in the Iron Range, didn't it?
It really did. And actually, Vida is kind of a celebrity anyway. She's big into NORAD, and she's very into politics. She got John Kerry to come to Chisholm during the election, which is no small feat considering how small Chisholm is.
Right.
So it did turn a lot of people into celebrities. Yeah.
W.P. Kinsella, the author of Shoeless Joe, is thankful for you for writing this because he wrote fiction.
Yes.
And you wrote the truth, so it filled in a lot of the blanks.
And what he told me was that he did some of the same research I did, talked to some of the same people, including Vida. But what he couldn't find, he made up since he was writing fiction. Bob Reising, my co-author, and I, we spent countless hours at the Iron Range Research Center there, which I believe is a new name. I think it's the Minnesota...
Why didn't you stay?
Why didn't I stay?
It's tough.
The winters are cold. The winters are cold.
Oh, they're nothing.
I live in North Carolina.
It's tough to leave the range.
You know what? It really is. It's a beautiful place. One of the coolest things when I was driving up there for the first time, it was the week before Christmas in 2005, saw a bald eagle flying like parallel to my car. Just amazing.
They're like pets around here.
Yeah, I guess.
They're like pets. Great book. Is there anything in there you found that was shocking to you that really stuck with you?
You know, I think the biggest thing was that this guy came, from such a prominent family and was born in North Carolina, educated, at Johns Hopkins and interned in New York, and yet, he found a niche for himself in Chisholm, Minnesota, of all places.
It's amazing everything he did outside of baseball. They still keep touching on his baseball career because as great of a ball player he was a better person, a better doctor, and his contributions to society were fantastic.
That's correct.
Thank you so much, Brett. Great job with the book.
Thanks. I wanted to mention that I'm going to be at Harmar Mall
I'm going
tonight.
to mention that
okay,
right
excellent.
now. Brett, so unless you want to, you can
You're the-
read
no,
it.
you're the
You can
professional.
read
You're
it
the
if you want.
professional.
Oh, that's debatable. Brett is hosting a book signing tonight at the Barnes & Noble at the Harmar Mall in Roseville. That event starts at 6 p.m. You can find Brett Friedlander's book, Chasing Moonlight, in bookstores everywhere. Now over to Corbin for more in the show. Corbin.
Thanks, Rob. Now to a great book celebrating fatherhood. In Congratulations, It's a Dad, Rachel Swartzen Wenham gives a special and heartwarming shout out to all new fathers. And Rachel is here to tell us more. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
This is a charming book, and it's a little bitty book. It's only 45 pages, but you said you did that by design.
I did. There's a baby to stare at, and I think so much of the resources out there for dads focus on the pressures financially of being a father or the lack of intimacy that occurs after a woman gives birth. And, there isn't a lot that just stops and talks about the gloriousness of being a father that only the father can experience.
Yes, and this is, I'm going to read you a couple little quick things. This is a quote in the book from a doctor, an obstetrician, who says, "If my breath is taken away by the birth of a child, this magical event, it is positively stolen by the birth of a father as he begins the richest journey of his lifetime." And that's really what this is about. Tell everybody what they're going to find in here.
Well, what Dr. Block was pointing out from Clinic Sophia, who was, she wrote the foreword in the book, it's just that really only the dad can be the dad. And I think, there's so many pressures on dads to do all these other things, but how rare it is that a dad just stops. And sometimes he doesn't just stop and hold the baby because he's not quite sure,
It's
what
awkward.
to do.
They don't know.
And
They're afraid they're going
small.
to break them, and they're squirmy. And
so what I've tried to do is just weave in some very practical information on burping, on bathing, on cutting nails. And the goal is really that to empower dads with as much confidence as they can, which will make them more motivated to participate.
Well, and maybe they can quietly sit and find out this information through the book, because they might be a little embarrassed or awkward to ask, because they're supposed to be this big, strong dad now. This is one of the most charming pages in the book. It says, "Remove your shirt and allow your newborn to become familiar with your smell, your touch, your feel. Her information receptors are only primal. She's not rationalizing or analyzing anything, yet she needs to know everything about you, how you smell, you feel, how your skin tastes." And that's it. These dads have to bond with these babies too. It's not just all mom.
It's true, and I think a lot of times we overthink because we can, and we're focusing on all the other details. And when you stop and think about, well, what is the baby thinking about? Nothing. It's just so glad that it's warm, and it's so glad I can feel your beating heart, and it's so glad that it's here, and just resting on a father is just got to be the most comforting feeling.
Now we have to talk about the photographs in the book, because they are old style photographs, in that they are a collection of over 60 years, these photographs?
Yeah, actually the cover photograph was from Abbott Hospital here in 1947. And the fun thing about the photos, and I did find them from all these different historical databases, is that they really show how simple it was. And where the pictures kind of talk about, there's a picture of this beautiful baby in a bucket having a bath. But, you'll notice there's not a ducky that tells us if the water's hot enough or cold enough. And it's a kid in a tub, probably having the best bath of his life.
Yeah, it's a very simple life. So where'd you get these?
From different historical databases. These are actual real pictures. There's a picture of a baby with a big, huge diaper pin, and it's, you just, in the
Those
process
would be
of
washable diapers.
Exactly. But in the process of all the things that I think we are unnecessarily forced to be thinking about as new parents, buying, just cluttering our homes with all these things we don't need.
This gives us a reason to step back.
It is.
doesn't
What
it?
we need is just a moment to just breathe and be so grateful that we've got this little
Well,
darling.
thank you for coming by and
you.
giving us this moment to breathe. And you can find Congratulations, It's a Dad by Rachel Swartzen Wenham in bookstores everywhere. And still ahead, a backstage pass to All Things Jonas. Get ready for your chance to call in and win their latest concert DVD. But first, a little Minnesota music. Pictures of Them performs when we return.
Things like that when you go around. But you can't pay back, no, you can't pay back.
Thanks. Good luck, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Minute? Wait till we get a closer.
Make sure I'm off standby here.
We can just get a picture-in-picture of him the entire time.
If you wanna start the war, keep it up, keep it up. Do you know what we're here
Welcome back to the show. A little good old-fashioned rock and roll to kickstart your Tuesday. Pictures of Then is gearing up for the release of their latest album, And the Wicked Sea. The Minnesota-based band is celebrating with a special concert this Friday at the Uptown Bar, and we are delighted to welcome them to the show for a preview. And I'll be talking to Casey. You're the lead singer, guitar player. I like it that you're playing a Rickenbacker. You seem way too young to even know what a Rickenbacker. How did you get introduced to the Rickenbacker?
Mainly through my dad.
Yeah, that's I was going to say.
Yep.
Beautiful guitars. Hey, let's talk about your name, first and foremost. Where did you come up with it?
It's basically just a shout out to all the bands that we've been influenced by. We're very like late 60s, early 70s influenced, so it's kind of where the name came from.
And the Wicked Sea. I mean, you're a Minneapolis landlocked band. Yep. Why the title of the record? See, I ask these really tough questions.
No, it's a good one. It's really a metaphor for kind of like just the experiences that we've gone through. The album sort of tells a story, and it's kind of like listening to a movie.
Okay, I can dig that. I'm going to read a little bit of information here. First, I want to tell people who would like you. What if you like certain bands, you'll like us?
Boy, well, we've been compared to the Beatles with a modern twist. We've been compared to...
You've been compared to the Beatles.
With a modern twist.
How does that make you feel? I mean, those are some pretty big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I know. I don't really like the Beatles, to be honest with you.
Really?
You're
more of a Stones guy, right?
No,
well, that's my question. Beatles or Stones? If I ask you Beatles or Stones,
I would probably go with the Beatles.
Really?
Although I love the Stones.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you got that Rickenbacker sound. I mean, that's totally Beatles. So right on. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing you guys play. I'll read some information because you got the new record. You're going to have an album release party. The Pictures of Then, I should say, is hosting a CD release party this Friday, July 10th at the Uptown Bar in Minneapolis. That show starts at 8 p.m. For more information, visit picturesofthen.com. And now with a song off And the Wicked Sea, here's Pictures of Then.
Tell me again, were you so far away? And why I came round here just to hear you say that you don't miss me anymore. Well, there's something that you should know, 'cause I don't care if I can't remember a thing. If it takes years for this moment to bring me right where I want to be, somewhere on South Street. Same old road on different days, but you don't seem to know no more. Well, there's so rude, ever take me home. 'Cause I don't care if I can't remember a thing. If it takes years for this moment to bring me right where I wanna be, lost down on the southern streets. Green grass sheds the snow, I might forget the bitter cold. Down, 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 down.
And now, as promised, here's your chance to win today's DVD giveaway, Jonas Brothers, The Concert Experience. If you're the 20th caller to the numbers on your screen, ta-da! You'll win. Yeah, just call 651-989-5273 or toll free 888-546-8811. You can hit the stage with Kevin, Joe, and Nick as they rock out their sold-out concerts around the world.
Yeah, last year I think they said they made $12 million. more on the show. Okay, if you want anything from Showcase Minnesota in the past 30 days, you're not eligible to win it this time. Dial carefully, everybody, and good luck. And hey, remember, you can go online to showcaseminnesota.com for another chance to register to win.
That's right. Hey, coming up tomorrow in Showcase Minnesota, we're in the kitchen making a signature dish from Tria.
And we'll have some expert tips on how to avoid makeup meltdown this summer.
Plus a classic performance from Boone and Erickson. That's Wednesday at 10 right here on Showcase Minnesota.
You bet.
We're going to leave you now with more music from Pictures of Ven. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow, everyone.
Bye.
Your secrets so well, they cannot tell. And I know your secrets so well, that I'll never tell. You said it so well, you said it so well, you said it so well. But you never spent a dime on me. You never, ever, ever, ever gonna do no time for your crimes. But that don't make you free.
On Showcase Minnesota, provided by the following: Home Furniture, Rocco Altobelli, North Star Media Services, Hoygards, Granite Transformations, Kitchen Window, Music Connection, Minneapolis School of Flower Design, and Jen Air Appliances from the Maytag Store.
You never spend it on
Baseball player turned Minnesota doctor. Wednesday on Showcase Minnesota, expert tips on how to avoid makeup meltdown.